It's been a while since we talked about Gina Carano and her situation where she was suing Disney for wrongfully firing her and not firing other people who said much worse things than she did. And a lot of people said the exact same things that she did and didn't get fired. So what gives, man? Well, apparently she won. Or she's winning or something, I don't know. Is a settlement a win? I'd say it is. From Legal Mindset, Fast Facts, let's go! Love it.
Walt Disney Company has settled with Gina Carano in their lawsuit that has been going on for 1 year. Yes,
let's go.
Folks, it's been 1 year.
Yeah, and Elon Musk helped a lot with it.
And my channel, it's been crazy since then. We're up, you know, almost 200,000 subscribers. Back then, my videos averaged about 10K. Now it's about 100K. So it's much different now. But one thing that isn't different is my prediction. This is my prediction that was right all along. This is absolutely,
dude, like all of our predictions, they keep coming true. It's so easy to see what's actually going to happen nowadays on the internet. Everything is so predictable.
Absolutely a win for Gina Carano, and we're going to get into the
Let's
details
go
today on the Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge, and of course, this is a Fast Facts premiere, the quick and dirty version of the latest in legal news. If you like this, please make sure to like the video and leave a comment below. And of course, we have a PowerPoint. So jumping right into it in Carano v. Disney. So obviously, last year, Gina Carano, many of you knew her from The Mandalorian. She was aggrieved by.
She was also in a Daily Wire movie, and it was actually really good.
Disney in her termination when she was let go due to statements that she made online. And when we were examining these statements, when we're looking at these statements last year, we were examining them under the basis of California labor law. Now, many lawyers were confused and thought this is something about defamation or this related to something else. But when we looked at it, and I called this out a year ago in a much different apartment, not as good as this one, but in this case, I looked at this under the California Labor Code and I said, this is a slam dunk. There is no way they can fire her for those statements, for having political opinions, particularly when they have other employees that have very strong political opinions as well. And it seemed at the time they were taking a particular political bias. They were, by firing her, were actually picking a.
Yeah, this happened during the COVID era. Dude, a lot of crazy things were happening during the COVID era. People getting canceled, people being fired for ridiculous shit for no reason. They're like, I don't even get it. I don't understand why they even thought this was a good idea.
Side there, and that's in violation of the California Labor Code. Now, in other states that don't have this labor code, this would be a much different question. This would be a much different legal inquiry. But particularly in California, because of Section 101, they were in hot water. And this is something that got passed. It survived a motion to dismiss and was getting.
This is what happens whenever you lock regular people out of jobs. Whenever you lock regular people out of being able to run giant businesses like this. Because regular people, they're not going to figure out how to get higher up in your company. Unless they decide to do a bunch of terrible, shitty things that they're definitely not going to do. But terrible, disgusting, evil people will do those terrible, shitty things to get as high up in the company as possible. And then they start running the show. And then they make the whole thing terrible and shitty, and they drive it straight into the ground.
Into discovery. So at this point over the last year, emails, messages, internal documents were being let out. All sorts of things were happening, depositions. So this information was getting out, and we were learning the truth. At least Gina's side was learning the truth. Now, they weren't making that information public yet, right? But they were slowly learning what exactly went down. And lo and behold, as we all said, discovery was the real thing that Disney was afraid.
Dude, every time with these lawsuits, it's always discovery.
Of the real thing that didn't want to come out. And as that was going to, you know, possibly be revealed to the world, if we went to summary judgment, we went to trial, guess what happens? There's a settlement. There's a settlement. So we have this statement from Disney, and I'll read this for you. It's very important because you need to
Dude, this is going to be a fucking giant settlement.
Understand what they're saying and what they're not saying. And also, that the inverse of what they're saying is often very true. Let's read this. A Lucasfilm spokesperson said in a statement provided to Variety, the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm are pleased to announce that we've reached an agreement with Gina Carano to resolve the issues in her pending lawsuit against the companies. Miss Carano has always been well respected by her directors, co-stars, staff, and she worked hard to perfect her craft.
Yeah, she seems like a really nice, decent, normal person. And that's a problem. Especially when you get an organic following and the people that they're trying to push, nobody's buying it, and they're like, why are people rallying around this lady? She looks like a man! And every time it's always jealousy. And they don't get it, and they're out of touch.
While treating her colleagues with kindness and respect. Now, I certainly believe the second part, but language is always intentional, particularly when spokespeople are involved. The first thing they say is the thing that you need to really look into here. Miss Carano was always well respected by her directors, co-stars, and staff. One of the key issues here, the key complaints on this lawsuit was that she was disrespected by the directors, co-stars, and staff because of her particular political views. And that was extremely damaging to Disney, extremely damaging to them as a company, particularly at a time in which they were already viewed as ideological and they're already losing some of their core constituents, such as families, which were being driven away from Disney by certain actions that they were taking at the time.
By certain actions, he means gay ideology, trans ideology that normal people just don't fucking want. Or, you know, maybe they don't care, but why the fuck is it in everything? And why does it seem like they're trying to push this on everybody? That's what normal people think. They really don't care. Like, there's a show that I watched that had a non-binary trans person in it. I didn't give a fuck. Another Life. It was a sci-fi show. Sci-fi alien show with the guy who played Goku in Dragon Ball Evolution.
So when they said she was well respected, this is to counter the narrative that her lawsuit had, right? And kind of tie that up, kind of close that up, that she was disrespected by them because that was indeed harmful to them. With this lawsuit concluded, we look forward to identifying opportunities to work together with Miss Carano in the near future, meaning that's going to happen. So there will be opportunities for Miss Carano in Disney in the future. Let's see what she had to say.
Of course there is. Because, like, Disney isn't just one. I mean, it is like a giant entity, but it's not like one group of people that runs it. There's all different kinds of groups, all different kinds of companies. Like, of course she's going to be able to work with Disney again. And of course she will work with Disney because she's probably not going to work with the same people that she worked with previously that got her in this whole mess. But she'll definitely work with somebody.
Come to an agreement with Disney and
maybe
Lucasfilm,
not in Star Wars,
which I believe is the best outcome for all parties involved. I hope this
give her her own Star Wars movie,
brings some healing to the Force. Once again, the Star Wars reference, the reference to Star Wars there with the Force, is not unintentional. It's because they probably already know and came to an agreement that she will be in future Star Wars films, TV shows, etc. That she is going to be part of this in the future. That certainly was.
I didn't see that coming. Honestly, I thought she wasn't going to do any more Star Wars. I'm fucking here for it. I hope that she's going to be in the good Star Wars.
Part of their discussion. I want to extend my deepest, most heartfelt gratitude to Elon Musk, a man I've never met, who did this good Samaritan deed for me funding my lawsuit. Thank you, Mr. Musk and X for backing my case and asking nothing in
I don't like Elon Musk, but this was a W move.
Return. To my lawyers at Schaefer Jaff, who walked me through this unknown territory, thank you for your wisdom and guidance. I am humbled and grateful to God for his love and his grace in this outcome. I'd like to thank you all for your unrelenting support throughout my life and career. You've been the heartbeat that has kept my story alive. I hope to make you proud. I'm excited to flip the page and move on to a next chapter. My desires remain in the arts, which I hope you will join me. Yes, I'm smiling from my heart towards Gina. First of all, Gina, very sweet woman, very honest woman, and she's being real with people now. Now, I know that there's some people out there that are Disney haters that wish she brought this all the way through, wish she exposed the rat, wish she, threw Bob Iger under the bus, all that sort of stuff.
I think this was good enough. I think Disney's starting to make a turnaround also. Hopefully, we're getting away from all the woke stuff. Hopefully, whatever the next movement is that they're going to latch on, that it'll actually fucking make sense.
The Stardust stuff came out. Kathleen Kennedy, all them got vengeance.
Kathleen Kennedy's going to get me. She's going to get me.
But understand, ladies and gentlemen, that vengeance is not often the best for both parties. In fact, vengeance often leads both parties destroyed. Coming to a settlement, coming to an amiable agreement, coming to a peaceful agreement.
Yeah, we just got to humiliate them. That's all we need. We don't want to actually, like, destroy anything or anyone. We just want to humiliate them so they can become fucking normal.
Is often the best for everybody involved. Gina Carano,
Disney.
yes.
Disney's fucking awesome. But there's like, I don't know, let's say 15% of Disney that's just creepy, evil, weird shit. But that's what you get with a giant worldwide company like that. You get a bunch of evil freaks who manipulated the system to put themselves on top to run the company. But it doesn't always have to be like that. It shifts, it changes, it moves in different cycles.
She was wronged. Yes, she was disrespected. But at the end of the day, she's an actress. She's an artist.
Yep.
And her passion, she says it right here, remains in the arts. Her desires remain in the arts.
I hope all of this doesn't get her blacklisted from doing other stuff, though, because that seems to be a big thing in Hollywood. You mess with one Hollywood entity, then the rest of them are just not going to touch you. It's not going to even really be the fact that, they're all working against you. It's more like, oh, Gina Carano, I heard that she's hard to deal with and she might sue you. Yeah, we're not going to go with her. And then she's just not going to find work anywhere. And that's going to fucking suck. I hope that's not how it goes.
Right? So let's go over to what Carano wins, because you got to really understand this. It's not just monetary compensation, because of course they're paying her, right? Of course.
Right.
But it's the ability to work with them in future films. She's going to be, back in her own character, Cara Dune, back in that role in the future. Absolutely 100%.
You know who they should have got to play Snow White? Yeah. That probably would have been fixed if she was in it and not that woke weirdo, whatever her name was. I already forgot. Who was the chick's name that played Snow White?
And beyond that, she's not locked out of Hollywood. We all know what influence Disney has. We all know how the industry is. She's not locked out of the broader community. That is part of that conversation, saying, hey, we're going to not just work with you, we're going to make sure you're not blackballed, you're not excluded, etc., from mainstream film. So she may get mainstream roles out of this. And beyond that, she's completely repaired the damage to her name and reputation.
Sure, they can say that, but is that actually what's going to happen? Because, they can help her with their own films, but they also might not have to put her in, the best roles, you know what I mean? She might get a side character role in the next Fantastic Four movie.
Because by them losing, because by the way, this is an objective victory. Settlement is an objective victory. Remember, Disney fought this tooth and nail. They used every procedural trick. They complained. They filed motion to dismiss. They filed all sorts of other motions. They tried to at various points procedurally win. That didn't work. Settlement is a win. Most cases settle. And by them settling, that repairs her name, because it says Disney acknowledges they were wrong and acknowledges that what they did to her was indeed wrong and they should not have done that.
Holy shit, man.
That is done.
That's like a first. When have they ever admitted wrongdoing?
But what does Disney win?
They didn't even admit that they were wrong whenever that person who was allergic to their food died from it because they lied.
And how does Disney win here? Now, of course, Disney does lose money, right? They do admit that, hey, we did a wrong here. But what do they get? Well, they get to prevent Discovery revelations. That would be disaster.
Well, how are we supposed to know that somebody was allergic to a certain kind of food? You're supposed to tell them. You're supposed to tell people what's in your food. Like, if they ask you if you made your food with mushrooms and you say no, then they are to assume that you didn't make the food with mushrooms. And then if you make the food with mushrooms and they get an allergic reaction, that's your fucking fault, bro.
To their public image would absolutely hurt them if it came out that they were targeting her because she was perhaps political, or even worse, because she was religious. I think that would be absolutely devastating to Disney, because a lot of families go, a lot of religious people go to Disney of all political backgrounds. And that is very, very dangerous when it turns out you may have been discriminating against somebody for their deeply held personal beliefs. They also have the ability to work with Carano in future films. And let's face it, she's one of the best actresses out there in terms of their slate, because their slate is kind of thin. It also fixes this image of ideological bias. And now it can say, hey, look, we got Gina Carano. You guys know who she is. You know what her beliefs are. You know that she's not somebody who fits the typical Disney talking points that have been generally believed. It's somebody who we're working across the aisle, right? So it's a very nonpartisan or bipartisan sort of solution. It also avoids public coverage of the trial. Now, look, as much as I love myself and LawTube and we're all cool and fun, look, I'm not everything and I'm not all this, but of course we would cover it, right? And beyond that, all the internet would cover it. It would be a massive case. It would be everywhere. All the channels would be covering it. The drama coming out of
the drama slop
story, the gossip, and also Elon Musk. Elon Musk, if he is given the opportunity, is going to cover this. He's going to put it all over X. He's going to be tweeting about it every day. It is going to be dragging Disney through the mud. And they absolutely do not want that, particularly when Elon would like nothing better than to stick it to old Bobby Iger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they got a long-standing beef.
Know what you guys think today, and I will catch you on the next
one. Yeah, you know what I think? I think fuck Disney. Fuck Disney. They can eat a dick. W. Gina Carano, if I was her, though, I wouldn't work with Disney. Fuck Disney. Yeah, it is a paycheck, whatever, I get it. But, like, you gotta have some morals. You gotta stick to your guns, man. Fuck Disney. Bunch of fucking pedophile freaks running the show. Get that shit out of here. Use the money that Disney is giving you, Gina, to start your own company. Start making your own movies. Fuck them. I'd rather watch the B movies that Gina Carano would make over the Disney Star Wars movies and the Marvel movies that I'm never gonna watch. I don't care how good they are. I'm fucking done with it. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for all notifications.